Bringing your spouse and children over to the US with you on your E3 visa is probably the most important thing that you can do as a family person. I'm going to explain in this video how you can get your dependents their visas through an E3. I'm a Halo CEO and co-founder of Migrate Mate. We're an immigration company here in New York City helping families move over from Australia to the US on an E3 visa and the dependent visa for $499 per person. We've helped countless people on their immigration journey, and every single person that we've helped has had their visa approved, and so have their dependents. So I'm really excited to talk from my personal experience as well as knowledge on the subject about how you can get a dependent visa for your spouse, children, or both. An E-3D is a dependent visa for the spouse and children who are aged under 21 years old for the primary E3 holder. If you are looking to get an E3 or you hold an E3 visa, then your family may stay with you in the US so long as you have a valid E3. Your family is admitted for the same period as you are and can extend as long as you keep your E3 visa valid. One key detail is that since January 30th, 2022, there are separate admission codes. E-3S is the spouse visa and it comes with work authorization. E-3D is a dependent with no work authorization. E-3R is a dependent in renewal or extension status. Spouses who are legally married to an E3 holder or E3 applicant, as well as unmarried children under the age of 21 years old. Note that the US does not recognize de facto relationships, civil partnerships, or common law marriages. You must have a government-issued marriage certificate in order to be legally married, according to the United States. If you are in one of these relationships, you must get legally married before you go and apply for an E3 visa in order for your spouse to be eligible for a dependent visa. If you can't get legally married in time, a really good alternative is the B2 visa, which allows your spouse to come with you to the US and live with you for 6 months. Unfortunately, they will not have any work authorization on the B2 visa, but it's a good time to get things sorted legally so that you can get married and therefore get a dependent visa. For children, they must be under 21 years old, unmarried, at each application for an E-3D and entry to the United States. The US recognizes someone as being your child if they are biologically your child, your stepchild, or have been adopted by you. The day your child turns 21, they lose dependent status immediately and must transition to another visa. Neither your child nor your spouse need to be Australian in order for them to qualify for an E-3D. Only you, the primary E3 applicant or holder, must be Australian. The most common way that people apply for an E-3D is through consular processing. That is, you go to a US consulate and do an in-person interview there, usually in Australia or the country that the primary E3 visa applicant is a resident of. It used to be in the past that if you had any dependents under the age of 14 years old or any above the age of 79, they were eligible for an interview waiver. This is no longer the case. Every single dependent must attend the consular interview in person. Each dependent must also submit their own DS-160. The cost per dependent is $315 for a US consular interview. Dependent interviews are short, usually just requiring the officer to see that the dependent has a marriage certificate or a birth certificate, and if approved, the officer will take your dependents' passports in order to issue them a visa stamp, and this will normally take between 1 day and a week. Sometimes it can take longer, but this is very rare. For an in-depth video on what the E3 visa interview process is like, check out the video on screen right now. In order to be authorized to work in the US as the spouse of the primary E3 visa holder, you need to be admitted into the US on an E-3S admission code in your I-94. This is given to you by the Customs and Border Patrol guard at the point of entry into the United States. They will likely look at your passport, see your visa stamp, and see it says E-3D. Some guards know to change that to E-3S and some don't. You can nudge them by asking them, hey, would it be possible that you admit me as an E-3S as I'm the spouse of the primary E-3 visa holder? Some are okay with that, some won't be. We've had clients who have tried to do that and been put through secondary screening. If your I-94 says that you've been admitted on an E-3D, what you should do is call up the Customs and Border Patrol Information Center for the airport that you came through and request a change in admission code from E-3D to E-3S on your I-94. The phone numbers and emails are publicly available, so just Google CBP, and the airport that you came through. Until your admission code on your I-94 says E-3S, you won't be able to work in the US. Children are different. E-3D children have no working rights in the US. They are not authorized to work in the US under the E-3D. And so if you have a child who wants to work, say they're at a US university, they're going to need to switch visas to say an F1 visa in order to be eligible for an OPT or CPT, which then allows them to actually work here in the US. In summary, if you're applying for an E3 visa and you have dependents, each dependent is going to cost $315 for their individual interviews at a US consulate. They will need to do their own DS-160, and you will need to provide proof through marriage certificate or birth certificate at the interview that they are really your dependent. If you lose your job, your whole family, including you, get a 60-day grace period for you to find a new job, change status, or depart the US. If you're planning to bring your family over on an E3 visa, book in a free consultation call with me. I'll have a chat with you about how end-to-end process works and how we can get you and your family each their visa approved, just like all the rest of our clients. Thanks for watching. I'm a Halo. See you in the next video.